Good evening and welcome to a special episode of Reliable Sources, where we bring you face to face with the people shaping the future of California. Tonight, we are joined by a candidate who wants to change how things are done in California politics. He is the current sheriff of Riverside County, a lifelong law enforcement officer, and now he's running for governor of the biggest state in the country. Sheriff Chad Bianco is known for speaking out about crime, homelessness, immigration, and what he calls a broken Sacramento. As a Republican in a very democratic state, Sheriff Bianco says he's not here to play politics, but to restore what he calls common sense and public safety. His supporters see him as a bold truth teller. His critics call him divisive. But no matter where you stand, one thing is clear. He's a voice that refuses to be ignored. Tonight, we will ask him about homelessness, California's high cost of living, and what he would do differently if he is elected as a governor. Sheriff Bianco, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure.
It's an honor for us, sir. Before we talk about laws and leadership, let's meet the man behind the badge. I like the word, like the man behind the badge. We need to know you. So, Sheriff Bianco, can you please tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, and thank you for asking, because that's important, because really this is just my job. I'm in my whole life. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, a grandpa. And I just go to work and I do this for a living. I certainly enjoy what I'm doing as the law enforcement person wearing the badge, but I'm just a regular person that cares about his family and cares about them being safe. And I happen to have a job that allows me to make sure that can happen in Riverside County. So I've been married for a long time. I have 4 kids. My kids are 35, 32, 31, and 28, 3 boys, and then my youngest is a girl. And I've got 4 grandkids, and I have 1 that's on the way. So my youngest son, he and his wife just told us last week that they're expecting another baby. So we're going to have 5. And I live in Riverside. I'm not a native Californian. I moved here from Utah. I was born and raised in Utah. And I came to California really in search of the California dream. I left Utah in hopes of
California.
I love California. Yeah. As a young kid, I fell in love with California, and I knew that I was going to someday move here. And I did. Once I became an adult, I was 22 years old when I moved here. Okay. And I came here in search of the California dream. I wanted a family, I wanted a good job, I wanted to be, happy and that perfect little family life. And I truly did find it here. And it's I love it here. This is my home. I don't ever want to leave. Everything about California I love, and it's just been a wonderful life for me here. The unfortunate part for me right now is my kids don't find that dream a reality. What was my California dream that I achieved, they seem to believe that they can't have that anymore. The cost of living is too high here. Their taxes are too high here. Housing is not affordable for them. They want to own a house and they can't. Yes. And they are at a point in their lives trying to raise their new families, and they want to leave. They want to go to another state that it's going to be easier for them. And so for this, I don't want to leave. I don't want my grandkids to leave. And so we're going to do everything we can to make sure that the California that I came here for is restored again for my kids, my grandkids, and for future generations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Let's make it easier for me.
No, very good. Okay,
so let's start a little bit from the beginning.
Okay.
What made you want to become a law enforcement officer in the first place?
Yeah, there wasn't anything that made me want to do that. I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be a law enforcement officer. That's not in my family. No one in my family was in law enforcement. If it was up to me, I would have been a professional baseball player. That's what I thought I was supposed to be. But I think that as we get older and we look back at how things happened and where we go, and then as you get more wise, you realize that we aren't really in control of our lives anyway, and God had different plans for me, and those plans were laid out that I just took those steps. I didn't say no to things when opportunity presented itself to me. And back in the early 1990s, in 1993, the opportunity came to, it was not easy. I had to quit my job that I had at the time and put myself through a law enforcement academy. And one of my friends was doing it, and it seemed very intriguing to me. And at the time, it was good pay and it was good benefits, and I had a brand new family and the insurance and all of the benefits that went along with it. And I just thought, man, that would be a great job. It would provide for my family. And so I put myself through the Sheriff's Academy. And from day one, I just absolutely loved it. It's a 6-month academy, and it was a joy for me. And when I finished, I ended up finishing at the top of my class, and I was hired by Riverside. It was San Bernardino County Sheriff's Academy that I went to, but Riverside County hired me the day after the academy graduation. And I've been working there since 1993. So I'm in my 32nd year now. And obviously I moved up through the ranks. I had a variety of assignments in law enforcement. I did probably my favorite part of my career was drug enforcement. I was an undercover drug detective. Oh, so okay. I didn't look like a cop. I had a really big beard and long hair, and that was very, very interesting to me. It was a lot of adrenaline, a lot of excitement, and so that was very exciting for me in my career. But then I started promoting up through the ranks and into management, and things changed in my career, and other things became more important. Great. And so I ran for election for sheriff, and I won in 2018. And then again in 2022 I was reelected, and so now I'm in my 7th year as the sheriff. And we really have transformed our department, our office, into something that our residents really could be proud of. We believe that every community is different in our county, and every community should be treated different based on what their needs are, what their quality of life issues are, and that's how we address all of their concerns. So we don't have a one blanket approach to law enforcement, because what may be important to someone's community is not important to someone else's. Correct. So if we're only concentrating on one, then someone gets left out. And so we believe that no matter where we are at the time, no matter what city we are in or the county area, every person, every community is unique, and they require a unique service from their law enforcement, and that's what we try and provide them. And we've been very, very successful in that other places are modeling now after us. So I feel like we've done a very good job for our residents. And unfortunately for me, I have to spend a lot of time in Sacramento with our lawmakers. And a lot of the problems that are facing law enforcement right now, preventing us really from keeping our communities safe, happen in Sacramento. They happen because there are bad laws that are made, or good laws are rescinded and they are changed. And it seems like the lawmakers in California are making it almost impossible for the lawmen in California, the sheriffs and the police, to keep us all safe. Yes. And so it's come to that point in my career, in politics right now at the time, that we're in a very unique position, especially in California, that I think the main opinion of Californians is that California is going in the wrong direction. Their government is going in the wrong direction. That no longer is serving its people. It's more like the people are serving government, and that's not what we were designed for. That's not why we are all a part of this country. And so it's come to a point in my career where I decided I either need to stop complaining and stop fighting it, or I need to do something about it. And it brought me to the decision of running for governor to make sure that we can really change the direction of our government, the agenda of our state government, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to make people's lives here better.
So now we'll move and let's talk about crime. Since you are a sheriff and you deal with this issue a lot. So Sheriff Bianco, you have said many times that you are running for governor because you love California.
Yeah.
You just said it. So, and you can't sit back and watch what's happening anymore. Can you tell us what exactly do you think is going wrong in California right now?
Yeah, I think if we all sit down around a table and talk about the things going wrong, we could come up with hundreds of things that are going wrong with California.
And we have a lot of questions for you about this.
Yeah, 100% believe it's our government. Our government is not working for the people anymore. Our government is working for itself. It's working for special interests. It's doing things and making decisions to ensure that government has to grow bigger and be more involved in our lives. And my personal opinion is that is not what we were supposed to be doing in this country, and that's not what our government was designed for. So it's, I truly do believe it's our lawmakers and our government that is harming our state and our residents. Mm-hmm. And something has to change, a very drastic change in government if we're going to get better.
What do you think our government should do to make the right thing for the people?
Yeah, so I've been here for 35 years now, 36 years. And California is not the same today as it was 36 years ago. Our government is far more involved in our lives and restricting what we do. So my personal opinion is that government regulation is what's causing all of the problems in our state. And it's a purposeful decision, and it's a purposeful agenda by our lawmakers. Mm-hmm. In order for them to have more control of us, have more control of our lives, decide what we're going to do or when we're going to do, instead of us having the freedom to decide that for ourselves. And I think that over the last 35 years, we've seen a steady decline in the public safety world. Mm-hmm. In how that works. When I first started in 1993, we were tough on crime. There were consequences for crime. Mm-hmm. And crime was down. It was working. And then over the next 5 years, 10 years, into the end of 1990s and early 2000s, we completely went opposite and went very soft on crime. And there's no longer accountability for criminals. It's a slap on the wrist, and they're back out into our communities, victimizing us again, and especially the theft part and mm-hmm. violent crime. Violent crime is increasing all over the state. Theft is just through the roof. It's driving businesses out of our state because mm-hmm. they can't operate their business when everything's getting stolen from them all the time. Right. And then what that does also is it increases the cost of the goods that are in that store, because mm-hmm. that business owner has to make up for that theft. And so we're paying more for all of the things that we need because a lot of people are just stealing it. And right. someone has to pay for those things. So from my personal view in the law enforcement world is we have gone from a tough on crime where it was working mm-hmm. to a very, very lax on crime, and to where we're able, right now, we're enabling criminal activity and we're making it profitable. And we, as Californians, are all law-abiding Californians, are all suffering those consequences.
What would you do to make family feel safe again?
Yeah, we have to make sure that families are okay with their kids going outside. I mean, or going to the park to play. I mean, for me, growing up, my parents weren't watching me all day long. I went out and I played with my friends, and we were riding our bikes through town, and we were playing in the park, and we were doing those things. And that doesn't really happen anymore because we're too afraid of something happening to our kids, or even going to the grocery store, you're worried about being accosted going back to your car with your groceries, or going to the mall. Correct. And we're finding out now that you go shopping and someone follows you home because they saw what you bought, or they saw the bags that you were carrying to your car, and then they're robbing you in your home. Mm-hmm. And it's all of that has to stop. We have to get back to a point where criminal behavior is punished. We have to get to a point where it is no longer profitable to commit crimes and victimize us. And as the governor, you can set that agenda of what the lawmakers' priorities are in making sure that we are kept safe. It really is not difficult. It's very, very easy to keep us safe, because if you think about the entire population, most of us are all good people. probably 95 to 98% of us are all good people. We have good morals, we have good values, we have good ethics and integrity, and we're not criminals. It's a very, very small population of criminals. We just need to deal with them. Right. We need to hold them accountable, make them accountable, and really make it to where crime is not profitable for them. And there's a deterrent, whether it's jail time or something like that, that causes them to stop doing it.
Yes, I know you have a big point of view in the prisons. We'll talk about it later. But do you believe, Sheriff Bianco, we need more police officers?
We do. So every law enforcement agency is having a hard time hiring police officers. We're down right now. I mean, I have 4,500 employees, but I'm short 200. Oh. And then law enforcement agencies are short a lot also. They're short more than what we are.
Is that because of the fund? Like they reduce the fund?
It's funding. It's government not having its priorities in the right order. My belief is that our government's number one priority is our safety. The federal government's number one priority is our military, and the state government's number one priority is law enforcement and fire. Yes. So public safety is the number one role of government. We're supposed to be kept safe, and that's the role of our government. That's what our government was designed to be. And I think that that's where we've failed. We've taken money away from our police departments. We've put more into social programs that are proven to not work, and we just keep throwing more money, bad money at bad things, and it just keeps getting worse. So I think that we definitely need more police officers. We need the funding from these cities and from these counties and from the state to provide us the ability to hire more, so we can be full staffed, so we can provide that better service. A lot of times the community complains that they don't see enough police or it takes too long to get there. Well, that's simply a shortage of personnel. We don't have enough people to respond quickly sometimes, especially if it's a busy night or we're stuck on different types of calls. So if we were fully staffed, that would not be one of those issues. Yeah. So the answer is yes. We certainly need more law enforcement officers, and there was that real big push that we unfortunately heard in the last 5 years of defunding the police. That was a very, very bad idea, and we're suffering the consequences now.
Yes, and as you said, Sheriff Bianco, like about the small business owners, like they don't feel safe. Yeah. So do you have any plan to how to protect small business owners and help them grow in their business?
Yeah, there's so many things with, crime is just one part of the problem with small business owners. Small business owners are not having a very easy time of running their business because of our government, because of regulations of our government, because of the business taxes, because of the income taxes, the employee taxes that they have to pay. And the regulations are really truly designed, my belief is to drive them out of business. The government seems like they don't want people owning private businesses. The government wants to own the businesses. And that's not that's not what we're here for. I mean, we are free in order to choose what we want to make us happy and to make us prosperous. Exactly. And some of that is opening businesses. And when the government hinders your business, it's punishing you because you want to better yourself or better your family. And we have to take all those regulations away. They aren't even laws here in California. They are just regulations from committees and boards that on day one of being the governor, I can take them away with a stroke of a pen. Okay. And those regulations that cause us to do those extra things in the payments that we have to make to government and go through the extra steps, and even the lawsuits for small businesses, the lawsuits that employees bring against their employers and that customers bring against the business owners, that just astronomical financial consequences for those businesses. Right. And those have all been made because of regulations, and those need to be taken away. We need to make California is the least business friendly state in our entire country. That's true. And we need to make it the most business friendly. We need to make sure that businesses from all across the country want to come to California to either expand or to open their business or to make their business better instead of push them away.
Correct. And also, you have been very critical of Proposition 47. which lowered penalties for some crimes. Supporters say it helps reduce crowded prisons and give people a second chance.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to that?
Yeah, those are all emotional arguments that are just factually not true. That was an agenda-driven argument from people that didn't want jails and didn't want prisons and didn't want people held accountable, and they played on our emotions to make us think that we were somehow punishing people unfairly. The reality back before Prop 47, people rarely went to prison. Rarely went to prison. And when I was in the drug enforcement world, it was 7 times. I had to arrest someone 7 times and get 7 convictions before they finally went to prison.
Oh, wow.
So this whole second chance thing, that's all an emotional argument that is just simply not true. They got 7 chances, and they kept choosing that poor behavior before they went to prison. They get, the first one is nothing. No one is held responsible for the first crime that they do. Then they get probations, and then double probations, and then they might get jail time that was suspended and more probation, and then they do jail time, and then maybe eventually after that 5th, 6th, 7th conviction, they might go to prison. And that was in the 90s, in the 2000s. In 2014, that all went away. Prison was basically, you just didn't go to prison anymore. The consequences for crime were taken away. And the prison overcrowding, if you have 5 kids and you live in a 2-bedroom apartment and you want your kids to have more space, you get a bigger apartment or you add more space. You don't give away your kids.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an option.
That's a good example.
So in the prison system, when the prisons were overcrowded, instead of building more prisons, we let all the criminals out. And all that did was push them into our communities again, and they just, now with no consequence of going to jail or prison, they just committed more and more crimes. That's why crime has steadily gone up.
Yes, and this is answer my question, which is like, you are against closing prisons, and you said it was a big mistake.
Yeah.
And I know you support reopening some of the California's closed prisons. So why do you think we need it more right now?
We have more criminals. There's no place to put our criminals. Our state prison inmates, the population of our state prison went from about 160,000 inmates down to about 90,000 inmates, but it wasn't because crime went down. It was they just let those inmates out, and they forced them back into our communities. A lot of them came into our county jails. I don't have the space in my county jails for those inmates, so I have to house them, so the lesser crimes I have to let go. So right now, I mean, it's a dirty little secret that, I mean, you don't want people knowing, but people have to know you don't go to jail anymore for committing crimes. I mean, if you go to jail, we let you right out. The people that are in my jail, I have roughly about 4,000 inmates in my jail, and they are all in jail for harming a person. They caused harm to another person. There are no low-level crimes. There's no such thing as a low-level crime in jail. Those people get let out. There's no consequence for them. Wow. And that is why we see crime on the rise, because it's basic human behavior. If there's no consequence, you're going to keep doing it. Correct. And you have to make it inconvenient for people to commit crimes. And if you're not going to do that, then we see the rise in crime. That's what happened with Prop 47. Prop 47 enabled crime. It enabled criminals to commit more crime without a punishment, and we saw the consequences for that.
Yeah. And you also supported Proposition 36,
yes,
which increased jail time for repeat offenders in theft and drug cases. And how do you feel that improve the public safety?
Well, right now it's improved not one single bit, because the proposition required funding. The whole purpose of that was for rehabilitation. It wasn't to put people in jail. The purpose of Prop 36 was rehabilitation. We need drug treatment, we need alcohol treatment, and we need mental health treatment. And those are the things that are driving our homeless population. Those are the things that are driving our drug population, our drug-induced psychotic people that are homeless. That's what's driving a lot of the theft crimes, is the drug addiction problem. So we need something where we can force people into treatment, where we can get them the treatment that they need so they can become productive members of society again. The problem with Prop 36 is it required funding. It required our government, our governor, and our legislature to give us the funding to have more judges, to have more courts, and to have the ability to send someone to a 30-day in-home rehab center where they could get sober, where they could mentally, where we could get them stable. And that was purposely not given to us. So that was a very evil way for the government, who was not in favor of Prop 36. Our governor did not want it to pass. Our lawmakers did not want it to pass. 75% of the state wanted it to pass. And so we passed it, but out of spite, the governor and the legislature refused to give us the money. They've given us a little bit now in the revised budget, in the revised May-June budget, but it's minuscule, and it's not going to be able to do anything. And that's by design, so they can come back later and say, see, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if we would give that treatment, if we would get them off of drugs, if we could get them mental health care, we could make them productive members of society again, and we could keep them off the streets. We could get that rehabilitation back into their lives and make them productive. So Prop 36 was a great idea, but it required help, work from our government, and we're not getting it.
That's sad. Yes. So if we speak about crime, we'll continue for a whole episode. So I know your time. So we want to get as much as we can from you. So now we'll speak about the wildfires and insurance. It's a big issue now in California. Yeah. So every year, wildfire destroy homes and even towns now.
Yeah.
As we see in the biggest one we just had, it started in January 7. They barely control it by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Like after it destroy a lot of everything in this area, Santa Monica and this area. So you have had responded to emergency like this as sheriff, of course. What's your plan to help the state prepare better for wildfire?
Yeah, well, that's a loaded question, because they're not preparing. I don't have to prepare better. I have to prepare.
Yeah, exactly.
The state is doing absolutely nothing now, and really the regulations that the state has made over the last 40 years is what has caused us to be in this position. We have fires every year. I've been in law enforcement since 1993, and every single year we have fire season. And we have to evacuate homes, we have to evacuate communities. We work hand in hand with the fire department to make sure that our people are safe. Every single year we have fires that you can't get rid of, and we have wind that you can't get rid of. None of that has changed. The only thing that has changed over the years, and it's gotten progressively worse, is the size of the fire. And the size of the fires are so big that they get out of control, and they cannot be managed because there's too much fuel. And the fuel is all there because the fire department, CAL FIRE, and even cities or even homeowners are not allowed to clear the dead brush away from their property or reduce some of that fuel so that fire doesn't get so big. And that's all government imposed. The government does not allow that. And that is why we're seeing these big fires, that now once they start and they get going, there is so much fuel, you can't stop it. It's just too big. So if you go back in time and you look, we don't have more fires than we used to have. We have bigger fires than what we used to have. So as the governor, I will take away all those restrictions. I will take away all those horrible environmental regulations that are preventing our fire departments from clearing out areas of dead brush, of old fuel, to make sure that if there is a fire there and it does catch fire, it's at least manageable. And this is not just me saying this. The fire department has been saying this for my entire 30 years. Yeah. They have been saying it every single year. And unfortunately for us, with the insurance costs and the cost of insurance, the insurance companies started saying this about 5 years ago, and they were telling the government, the governor, our Governor Newsom, they specifically told him, if you don't do something different, we're going to leave.
We're leaving,
we can't afford to insure California residents anymore. And they didn't change, and so now we saw all of the insurance companies leaving. We saw the disaster that we had with the fire. Now people don't have insurance, they can't afford insurance. The insurance companies have left, and it's all because of the government regulations that were imposed upon them and the fire department to prevent these things from happening. So as the governor, you remove those restrictions, you let the fire department clean up all these areas, you mitigate the chance of these happening, and you bring those insurance companies back into the state. Once the insurance companies come back, then you compete in the free market to lower the price of insurance.
How do you think you can bring them back?
California is the biggest state in the country. We have too many people here. This is where they want to come here to make for their business. But if their business can't be profitable, if they're going to go bankrupt by being here, they're not going to be here. And the only thing that is causing them to be in that position is government regulation and government control. That has to be removed so they can come back in and the insurance company can feel safe that cities aren't going to burn down, because we're mitigating the ability for that fire to cause that much damage. And when they are comfortable knowing that we're doing everything we can to make sure that houses don't burn down and cities don't burn down, they'll come back. They have to. There's 40 million people here that need insurance. Those businesses will come back.
Yeah, hopefully, because now it's really hard for homeowners to have insurance.
It's almost impossible in some places.
That's true. So, Sheriff Bianco, let's talk about something that affects every family: healthcare. Many Californians say it's too expensive to see a doctor or to get good care. So what do you think, or how do you make the health care more affordable and easier to people?
Yeah, so I think that what has happened over the last couple of decades is healthcare is now an industry. Healthcare is not for us. Healthcare is not to make sure that we're healthy. Healthcare is for
business.
People to make money.
Yes.
And it's for investors to make money.
Correct.
And so when you have people making decisions about healthcare that are no longer that took you and your doctor out of the equation, and it's all about making money, that's why we're not getting the care that we need. And I think that I'm a big fan of Mr. Kennedy being in the position that he is in as the health director of the country to try and rein in some of these problems. But he's at a federal level, and we have to understand and we have to realize that the state has its own problems. And the state needs to change many things that it's doing in the realm of healthcare for its state residents, and not just rely on the federal government changing, but we really have to rein in the out of control healthcare industry from making money. It's okay to make money, but we don't have to be billionaires. I mean, the healthcare companies are making billions of dollars a year, and we're paying for it. I mean, why do we have to keep paying increased costs so they can make more money? There's got to be a very big come to the middle for that happy medium. And again, it goes back to, it was never like this before.
Yes.
It was when I was young, healthcare was easy. I mean, healthcare through my parents' work, and I mean, you just went to the doctor and the dentist, and the insurance companies and the businesses worked it out, and it was relatively, if you didn't have insurance, you could pay for it. It's not that expensive. But one of the things that I found out recently is if you go in and pay cash, if you just tell them you don't have insurance and you want to pay cash, it's a fraction of the cost. It's a fraction of the cost. It's the insurance companies that are driving up the costs of all of these, of our healthcare. And we, not only is it the aftercare, we have to start understanding and realizing that the aftercare is not the problem. Why do you need that care in the first place? We need to start becoming more healthy in the first place, so these other issues, so we don't need doctor's appointments. So we don't need, sometimes you can't, emergencies, you have to have an emergency, doctor appointment, but the ailments that we have and the increased ailments and reliance on medication that we have to address the underlying issues, not the symptoms. And I think that's going to be a big factor in that too. And Robert Kennedy is doing a good job of that, I think. He's at the very beginning, he's got years to go, but I think we have to realize that the state needs that too.
Exactly, because I think state has their own regulation and laws in this area. But as you said, I will take it from you, Sheriff Bianco, you said, in the past, we used to have like health insurance from the business, from the employer. So a lot of small business owners now are struggling to give their employee health insurance because it's so expensive. So would you support any changes to help businesses to give their employees? Oh yeah,
it's not just support. It's our government needs an overhaul. We need someone to go in there and say, there's going to be a lot of house cleaning. There's going to be a lot of people that have been in these positions for a long time that are they're going to have to go find different jobs. And we're going to replace them with people that are more interested in helping to make sure it's done right. You know who is not on any of the insurance boards? Doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't we have doctors that are on these boards making
weird?
these decisions?
Yeah.
Why don't we have patients making these decisions? You know, that we come together. We have people we have politicians that are making these decisions based on special interests, and we've got to be honest, they're making a lot of money. And that money that we know they're making, and we know they're getting paid because they make horrible decisions that we would never make common sense decisions this way. And you have to wonder why. Why would you do that if you weren't getting a benefit from it? And these things just have to change. So it's not so much that I'm going to do something particular for a small business with healthcare. It's the whole industry. The whole system has to be completely redone to where we're getting a benefit instead of a burden. I mean, it truly is a burden now. And we offer a lot of free healthcare to people that I think don't necessarily need free healthcare.
Yes.
They're dishonest in their circumstances to begin with, and then the people that are trying to do things right and trying to do it the right way, the business owners, they pay the consequence for that. They have to make up that extra. So there is so much fraud and abuse going on.
Right.
We have to admit that. We have to admit that there is a lot of fraud and abuse, and we have to stop it.
Yes, I agree with you. And the one big beautiful bill, it just signed into a law a couple of days ago. So it includes some changes to healthcare. So do you think this changes will help Californian, like the family in California, the middle class families in California, or it will hurt them? Because a lot of people is scared of the new laws and the one big beautiful bill about healthcare.
Yeah, I think part of the big problem is you can't believe anything that you hear anymore.
Yeah,
because everything is dishonest politicians. And even the news, they just repeat what a politician told them. And so every single Democrat is saying how horrible it is and that we're all going to lose our health insurance and Medicare is gone and Medicaid is gone and seniors lose all their money. None of that is true.
Are now scared.
Yeah, they are.
A lot of questions. We will lose our health insurance.
Yeah.
Senior will not have Medicaid anymore.
And that's not true.
What is that true?
Yeah, that's not true.
Okay.
They're making a lot of changes to the program to where the abuse is going to stop. If you're on Medicaid or Medicare, if you are legitimately doctor care incapable of anything else and you need that care, you're not going to lose that care. But if you're one of those that an able-bodied adult that you just don't want to work and you're not working because you're disabled because you're fat and you can't get out of your chair. And that's a disabled, so you need all of this care, that is going to stop. So I think a lot of the misconception around this whole thing was just the fear factor of they want you to believe these bad things are going to happen. And the reality is some people are going to lose their care, but they should lose their care. They're going to have it for a little bit. That's what it was intended for, is to get you through that tough time. But now we need to make you productive again so you can go back and be able to afford your own, or you can get back into work and do those things. Be productive again in society. So a lot of the fear is dishonest, and it's just playing on our emotions to make us, you're easily manipulated when you're afraid.
That's true. Thank you so much, Sherif Pianco, and that brings us to the end of part 1. We have part 2. So thank you so much for all your thought and views. And tonight we get to know the man behind the badge, his story, his values, and his views on crime, public safety, and health insurance. Whether you agree or disagree with his approach, there is no denying he's raising important questions about the direction California is heading, but we are just getting started. So in part 2 of our conversation, we will dig deeper into the issues affecting your wallet: taxes, the cost of living, housing, and the future of our schools. Sherif Bianco says it's time for a new kind of leadership in Sacramento. Next time, we'll find out what that really means and how he plans to make it happen. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in part 2. انتظرونا في حلقة جديدة part 2 من برنامجكم مصدر ثقة.